Hey everyone. Yep, welcome to another edition of the Anime Girl Profile Confidentials. After that hour-long one you heard, apologize on that. But here we're going to take a look, as you can probably see who the character is. From TaleSpin, we're going to look at Rebecca Cunningham. Now, the way Rebecca was portrayed in this series was really unique, and I thought was very well done. I mean, here you had a character that basically was was in a series set between the 1930s and 50s. And what they did with her was really unique because of the fact that she was the owner of a plane service, of a cargo business, but it was at a time people looked down upon people like her or anybody associated with a female owner. They looked down at them with contempt, or with discontent, I should say. And the discontent being the fact that at that time, and this pretty much does frame up that time frame, that at the time, if you weren't a man running a business, you were weak. And anybody that worked for you was weak. And they really portrayed this with Rebecca in the feminine air kind of episode where Baloo, long story short, there was this air show that Baloo was going to be part of, or wanted to be part of, but couldn't be because of the fact that he was working for Rebecca. And because he was working for Rebecca, everybody, thanks to the wording or gossiping of a rival pilot, everybody that would at first probably hire Baloo to fly the plane for the plane show shut their doors on him because of the fact he worked for Rebecca. And this episode did a lot because basically, you had to have Baloo dress in drag, if you will, or dress up as a woman to kind of, prove everybody wrong, or try to at least get a shot to fly in this air show. And hold on for a sec. Get a chance to fly in this air show, and basically he ends up flying for Rebecca, and it isn't until the end of the episode that Rebecca kind of reveals that she pretty much knew all along that it was Baloo in disguise. Yeah. She pretty much revealed all along that it was Baloo in disguise. That she pretty much knew it was Baloo that was the Tan Margaret character. And I guess the one thing that really convinced her is Baloo, as Tan Margaret, did a plane stunt that only Baloo knows how to do. So, yeah, go figure. But anyway, Rebecca basically I thought was portrayed very well here because she used this air show to not only show that, hey, I may be female, but I am a fierce business owner and I will do whatever it takes to prove it. But it showed that she was an equal, that she was a huge, huge equal when it came to being business owners and everything. Now, what they also did with Rebecca here is they also didn't just make her a owner of a cargo business and the owner of a plane, but they made her a pilot as well. She basically became the pilot. She basically became a secondary pilot for her own cargo business. She did. She became a secondary pilot for her cargo business, and I thought that was pretty well done. I kind of like that because of the fact that it showed not only can she run a business, but she can also fly the plane if necessary to help run that business as well. So I thought that was a good move on Disney's part to do that. Now, as far as Rebecca goes entirely, when she first appeared in Plunder and Lightning, officially in the pilot. That is, she appeared in Plunder and Lightning. And the way she appeared and debuted was kind of very reminiscing, well, similar, not reminiscing, but very similar to another Rebecca character, and that's Rebecca Donaldson from Cheers. Basically, the similarity is both had bought out the business of the other primary character. Rebecca Donaldson had bought out Cheers when Sam Malone decided to try to rejuvenate his baseball career, and he ended up coming back and being an employee of hers, basically being the head bartender, and then slowly but surely he regained ownership again, and in the end, both him and Rebecca became co-owners of the institute, of the bar. Here with Rebecca, it was similar but different. Basically, Baloo was becoming delinquent on his payments, his mortgage payments, his payments on his plane. Basically, he was getting behind because, well, basically he was lazy. Baloo was portrayed as, yeah, I'll do a job and everything, but I'll do it when I want to do it. You know, I'm a laid back kind of guy. I'll get it done. Don't worry. So because of this procrastination, he ended up losing his business to Rebecca. Rebecca, or Becky as he calls her in the series, ended up. It sounds like just getting out of from what it sounds like, or from what it looked like, had just completed a business degree. Had just achieved and gotten her business degree, and because of that, she now had the knowledge to run a business. So she ends up basically buying out Baloo's business and renaming it Hire for Hire. So, yeah, and basically Baloo at first is not too happy about this, but throughout the pilot movie, Plunder and Lightning, and even throughout the series, he learns to really accept it, and both kind of balance each other out, kind of like Sam Malone and Rebecca Donaldson did in Cheers. You know, they kind of balance each other out. And you can kind of tell almost right from the start at times, but mostly throughout the series, that there was going to be an attraction there between the two. There was. There's no doubt about it. There was going to be something there. And several episodes indicated that. I mean, true, Rebecca had some decent episodes, had some great episodes. Her Chance to Dream, that episode was probably one of the best episodes they had ever done for any female Disney character at that time. I mean, I talked about with Gadget, I talked about how the Case of the Cola Cult was a good one for her. That was basically a good one for her. That was her breakout kind of well, I didn't say breakout for Gadget, but essentially it was breakout-like episode. This was Rebecca's. Her Chance to Dream was her breakout episode because it delivered on all points as far as the character is concerned. It delivered on all points. And if that's not enough, another one that I thought really solidified the fact that there was something there between her and Baloo was A Star is Torn. Basically, it indicates that her and Baloo had gone out several times because, quite honestly, I think if you go through continuity and everything, it plays off the fact that maybe not everybody wanted to go out with Rebecca because, well, she was the owner of a business, of a cargo business, and maybe at that time period it just didn't look well to, associate with somebody that was a female owner of a cargo business or anything like that. But it did indicate that they had gone out several times. And I liked that. I really did. I really did like that. And, A Star is Torn really upped the ante in a sense because there's almost like right at the beginning when they kind of smooth things down a little bit and Rebecca starts to have a little bit of fun at, kind of laughing at what Baloo had done and everything. And there's one scene where she kind of leans against him after he says, you better watch it or people might think of us as friends. And she leans against him like maybe we are. And when he says that, people might think of them as friends, and she says maybe they are. It's like maybe they are a little, and it's like you think, well, okay, he says they're friends, and she's leaning against him, saying maybe they are a little, and you're like, is Disney trying to say something in this episode? And to me, they were. They were saying, hey, we want to go in this direction. We want to at least indicate that we want to go in this direction someday, but we don't know when or where. And I think the reason being is because they didn't want to tie it down to more of a family kind of thing. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the reason was that they didn't officially just go with it. I mean, you have various fan fictions out there, web comics and all that, where you have fans basically indicating, hey, these two are a couple. Heck, I even did an audio video indicating that I believe they were official. It's just Disney never really came out and said it. But yeah, Rebecca's relationship with Baloo was very unique in a lot of ways because, like I said, it's very similar. If you're a fan of Cheers, or if your parents were a fan of Cheers, you saw that similarity. And did Disney plan to probably go any further with that? I don't really know. But all I know is they really, I believe they had fun with it. They really did, because it wasn't just down to maybe the hints of an attraction and romance and all that between the two, but they also had the fun moments with each other. I mean, like I said, very similar to Rebecca Dawson and Sam Malone and Cheers, they had their moments. Even Sam Malone and Diana, they had their moments. Where they would get on each other's nerves. I mean, there's an episode where I think it's called The Louder They Oink or something like that. The bigger they are, the louder they oink. I think that's an episode where Rebecca gets this idea to use a pig that eats truffles that has a taste for truffles to basically track them down so she can sell them or whatever. And it's very comedic because there are scenes in the episode where Baloo basically tries to stick it to Rebecca. I mean, there's one episode after she finally obtains the pig she needs to do this, after they find out that there's a certain word that this pig doesn't like, which is bacon, that when the pig hears the word bacon, it goes crazy. So Baloo, out of spite for what Rebecca's going to do, decides, okay, you want to drag me along with this? I'll show you. I'll give you a taste of what you're in for. And then right behind her back says the word bacon, and she has she has the noose, or she has the leash on the pig, the rope leash on the pig, and as soon as Baloo says that word, it just drags her all over the place. And it was probably one of the funnier episodes they did. War of the Weirds was also funny, because I like that in a sense, because you could tell Rebecca and Sally Southers, who does the voice of Rebecca, was having fun with this episode, because basically the premise of it was Baloo was trying to find a way to get a vacation. It's like he's been working dead on. It's like dead on every day he's been working. It's like, I need a break. And true, he'd get his days off here and there. There's no doubt about it. But it's like, even with his days off, he's like, I need a break. I need a vacation. And Rebecca wouldn't give it to him because of the fact that I think, from a character standpoint, Rebecca didn't want a chance that even with her top pilot gone for maybe a few days or a week, it could ruin her business. Things could go downhill, or she could fall behind. Because the one thing I did like about what they did with Rebecca, is they made her a businesswoman that basically did what she had to try to remain relevant and on top. Basically it goes back to the Feminine Air episode, where she wanted to basically prove her point that a female business owner could be just as good as a male. And I think that's why you saw these indications, like with War of the Weirds. Baloo basically comes up with a stupid idea, a very stupid but very crazy idea, to try to get himself a vacation. But Rebecca is wise to it. She's like, okay, you want to play games? We'll play games. You think you're going to have a vacation? I'm going to make you work during this vacation. So, and you could tell, like I say, Sally Southers, who did Rebecca's voice, really had fun with this episode. And I don't think there's really much more I can say about that. there. Now, Rebecca has been shown to put others before herself, and I like that about her as well, because even though she could be a savvy, if not tough businesswoman, she's also has a heart to put others before herself. There's an episode called, I think it's My Fair Baloo. I don't think it's My Fair Baloo. It's something. I got to look at it again. But basically, Baloo ends up saving Shere. I think it's called Baloo and the Tiger. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. But it's an episode where Baloo saves Shere Khan, and Shere Khan is repaying a debt. Just keeps repaying and repaying and repaying and repaying. And Baloo starts getting all this stuff. He gets the Sea Duck back and everything. He gets this, he gets that. But unfortunately, he ends up getting on Shere Khan's nerves, because Shere Khan basically, he basically sends some thugs, basically some businessmen dressed up as thugs, to kind of teach Baloo a lesson. Unknown to Baloo, teach him a lesson that, hey, you don't pester him. He's like, hey, I gave you what you wanted, stop pestering me, stop asking for stuff, because you think I still owe it to you. It's like, because you think I still owe it to you. And because this is happening, they need to raise a certain amount of money, basically raise back the money that Baloo had gotten from Shere Khan, basically it pestered Shere Khan out of. And Rebecca goes as far as to not only sell the Sea Duck, but also her own business, Hire for Hire. But in the end, it turns out it was nothing more than Shere Khan's way of teaching Baloo a lesson, because it takes one document to get everything back to normal. And it's like, wow, and you watch that episode and you're like, wow, she actually put her own business up to save Baloo. That's how much she cares about him. More than just an employee, but as a friend. And maybe even more than that. So I really like the fact that they did that for her. I really did. Even Jolly Molly Christmas, which I think is one of the best Christmas episode specials that Disney had done. Even though she gets angry at first when Baloo kind of says what he's going to do with the sudsy soaps or whatever, it takes Kit. Even though she's angry at first, after Kit explains the situation, she kind of like, oh, basically she softened. She's like, she can't believe Baloo would actually do that. Well, she would, but she can't believe Baloo would actually go this far, or even at the expense of her own cargo. You kind of get what I'm saying? At first she's angry, but after Kit explains the situation, saying that Molly was asking Santa to make it snow for her mom, that's when she kind of gets that understanding that, kind of like, it's like she's appreciative. She's more like, she's thankful to Baloo for trying to make this happen. She's very understanding, even to the point that she goes with them, along with Wildcat, to try to make this dream become a reality. So, yeah, I really like that how they just overall developed the Rebecca character to be what she is, or to be who she was. And yes, Rebecca even followed suit in what Gadget did. In the episode Bringing Down Babyface, Rebecca, for a majority of the episode, shedded her traditional look that she does have in the episode, in the first 5-10 minutes of the episode, but she sheds it for a more mob doll, femme fatale-like look. And just the way she's dressed up and everything, you can kind of tell it's around the 40s, 50s. 50s, that's when it's kind of based around, with the hairstyle. And it's the first time, just like with Gadget and Double O Chipmunk, it's the first time we see her with a different hairstyle, very 40s, 50ish. It's the first time she's worn lipstick, eyeshadow, a dress, a boa, bracelet, and all that. Basically, when you see this, you're like, holy smokes, that's Rebecca? And she does have and just like Gadget, she does have her eyelids half closed at most times when she's in disguise. So I like that. So I kind of like the fact that Disney continued that tradition. I guess you could say they started with Double O Chipmunk, or that fad, whatever you want, that fad or tradition that they had started with Double O Chipmunk and Rescue Rangers, and carried it on to TaleSpin. We wouldn't really see it until about 2 years later with Goof Troop. And I'll explain that when I get to that character. But overall, Rebecca's character, to me, was really probably one of the better thought out characters that Disney had ever done for any Disney show or movie. I mean, the fact that the fact that she would go as far to put her own business up for sale to save a friend. The fact that even though she was angry initially, she softens and understands that that a friend is trying to make her daughter's wish or Christmas wish for her come true. I mean, I just like that. I just really, really do. And again, overall, they did such a great job with Rebecca's character in this series that I don't think anybody else can say anything more about it. So that's all I'm going to say on Rebecca Cunningham from TaleSpin on this edition of the Animated Girl